Hi, it's Margaret. Today I thought I would show a video that I took about a week ago when we got our very first snowfall of the season. It's quite early. Normally we don't get snow until December, and in fact most years, recently anyway, it's been touch and go whether or not we even have a white Christmas. This year we got snow in the middle of November, so super early, and I looked outside and the ground was barely covered with snow, but there were so many pretty things out there that I thought I would just grab the camera and go for a little walk. Now, the first thing that caught my eye was the switchgrass. This is in our backyard in what I call my backyard west border. This is actually what made me pick up the camera and go outside, because as I was looking outside from our kitchen window, that was just absolutely gorgeous. The cultivar is Cloud9, and I planted it back in 2019, and now it's full size and absolutely beautiful. And it's particularly lovely when we have a very, very light snowfall and then no wind, and the snow just sticks to all of those stems and those flower plumes. The backyard west border is actually an area that is very, very new, and I've only really been planting it up for the last couple of years, but this is one of the first plants that I put in. Also here is a smoke bush, and this is a seedling that just popped up here a few years ago, and I just let it go. The color on this smoke bush is amazing. It is absolutely glorious. And it is normally purple over the summer, but in the fall, my goodness, it literally shines. Now going into the raised bed area, we have my raised bed that held all of the poppies, and that held the poppies that were blooming a couple of weeks ago. And it is obviously snow covered. Look at the nigella. In the back of the raised bed area, I just newly planted a bunch of different shrubs, including this one, and this is a snowberry. And of course, what drew my eye was the gorgeous pink berries. This particular variety is called Pinky Promise, and the berries are so cute. I can just imagine when the whole shrub is covered with those. Right now, like I said, it was just newly planted. It went in the ground only a couple of months ago, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how this one gets on next year. And here's my perennial border in the raised bed area, and I don't know, I just love that fine layer of snow on everything. It's a little bit magical, I think. The first thing I see is actually the penstemon. This penstemon, I planted it last year, I believe. It's Dark Towers penstemon, and it has been a workhorse all summer long. And now it has such gorgeous structure, even in the snow. Oh, look at the carex. The carex looks gorgeous. Oh, and under the snow there we have the lavender. I have 3 varieties of lavender in this spot. It catches the snow really beautifully as well. And look at that blue oat grass. Now that is a gorgeous structure. It is so pretty. Look at how the snow just clings to those leaves. There is one last bloom on this rose. This is a David Austin rose, and it is called Crown Princess Margareta. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous rose with a beautiful fragrance. Also providing some really beautiful structure here on the side is a Baptisia. And this one is called Lunar Eclipse, and those black seed pods are going to last all winter long. And the only veg left in the garden, everything else has been harvested. Only thing left is the kale. You can see I have my buckets of compost ready to go for when I eventually do pull this out. At this point, it's still sitting there, getting sweeter with the little bit of frost and the cold temperatures. Right there is one of my pride and joys, and that is a seven sunflower. The botanical name, and I hope I'm saying this correctly, is Heptacodium meconioides. Seven sunflower flowers with these beautiful white blooms in late fall, but then when the blooms fall off, it has these gorgeous bright red calyxes that basically look like flowers, and they will hold on for quite a long time. But then on top of that, it has a gorgeous exfoliating bark. It is absolutely beautiful. I love this tree so much. Well, it's kind of like a small tree, large shrub, that I'm actually going to get another one. I do have a second one already in our garden, but I'm thinking of getting a third one to replace a Japanese lilac tree that has essentially died for no apparent reason. And I was thinking of what to replace that with, and I think this one will be the ticket. Of course, arborvitae always look gorgeous when there's a snowfall. These are just the typical emerald green arbs. In fact, I am going to be moving these back. You can see there's a huge space between the arb and the fence. That space is there because we didn't know where the property line was previously, and I didn't want to take a chance and plant things on our neighbor's property. So when we found out eventually where exactly the property line was when we did put up the fence, it was quite a ways over. So we will be moving those arborvitae over more towards the fence this coming spring. Here we have a soft serve false cypress. Now it has actually grown quite a bit, which tells you how tiny it must have been when I first planted it. What I didn't realize when I planted this one was how slow it grows. It is quite slow going. This one gets about 6 to 10 feet tall and about 5 to 6 feet wide. So it's going to take quite a while, obviously, for it to get to that size. And of course, what would be a winter landscape without hydrangea blooms, kind of propped up in the air? And this one here is a lava lamp hydrangea. The snow just looks so pretty on those blooms. And here in the front yard, I have a dogwood, red twig dogwood. Don't know the variety. It's probably just the species I'm thinking. It was here when we bought the house, and every year I harvest some of these beautiful red stems and use them in our front entrance. And here we also have I'm not exactly sure what kind of juniper that is. Again, it's original to the house. Every year I harvest from it to make wreaths, and every year it gets bigger and bigger. It is pretty much a monster. I think it's about 8 feet across or so. It's pretty darn big. And this is a Nootka cypress, and this one I actually only planted last year. and the variety is Glauca pendula. And you can see I have it staked here. I'm going to have it staked for the first year or so because we do get some really bad westerly winds in this area. And this whole area is newly planted this year. This is our front yard. The purpose of this area is to provide some privacy from the street. And here I have 3 American pillar arborvitae and a few other things like forsythia and deutzia. This little guy is a teardrops arborvitae. It's an arborvitae that instead of being tall and skinny like the American pillar, it'll be shorter and squatter. It will be around the 10 to 18 foot tall range, but the spread will be up to 8 feet wide, whereas the American pillar will only get about 3 foot wide and be about 20 foot tall. And this guy here along our front walkway is a thunderbolt honeysuckle. Now last year this guy completely defoliated over the winter, and in the spring there were a bunch of bare stems with only a tiny core of leaves right in the middle. I think it's only marginally hardy in our area. It totally bounced back. I had wonderful growth all season long. This winter, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover it with straw just to insulate it a little bit, and hopefully I don't have as much leaf drop as I did last year. Well, a couple of days later, after I took this footage, guess what? We got a right dumping of snow, a few inches anyway. Winter has officially arrived. Thank you so much for joining me on my little walk today, and we will see you next time. Bye.